Imagine sitting at home by yourself and all of a sudden somebody breaks into your home. What do? It's a scary moment, but you would feel more protected if you had a gun there for self-protection. You'd feel more comfortable about the situation. The United States has always been a firm believer in the Second Amendment, which is the right to bear arms. I believe firearms are needed and should always have a place in the United States. Unfortunately, gun lobbyists and other anti-gun organizations are putting much unwanted pressure on our unalienable rights. In this speech, I will explain to you how gun control does not work, the benefits of firearms, and how you can protect your Second Amendment rights. 200 years ago, when our founding fathers drafted the Second Amendment, no one questioned private gun ownership. Today, the way the American public perceives firearms is much different. Many Americans believe guns are the root of all evil in the United States. Gun control lobbyists are trying to impose each and every possible law and regulation they can get through Congress. Many of these rules and regulations which they wish to impose bite at the hands and feet of the Second Amendment. Gun control lobbyists are trying to scare the American public into throwing away their rights. Tricky statistics and false information about guns is giving private ownership of firearms a bad reputation. An example of their misleading statistics is their one on children and gun-related deaths. The statistics of the statistics labeled children the same way as the majority of Americans would. Twice as many children are killed playing football than are murdered by guns. Does that mean we should ban football from the United States? No, because that is an American sport that nobody thinks is gonna kill kids more than guns do. Owners such as myself are being perceived as a bad guy just because we own a gun. Although they might not be trying to pass a complete ban, each time gun control legislation passes, we are getting closer to it. A fact sheet from gunowners.org said, criminals bypass gun controls. A Justice Department survey of felons showed that 93% of handgun predators had obtained their most recent guns off the record. This means that the felons bought their guns not through a gun store, but from a black market dealer or another illegal method. Why should law-abiding citizens like me or any others pass a background check to not be able to purchase a handgun? Many gun owners and enthusiasts are asking, why do we need so much rules and regulation on gun ownership, since history shows gun control does not work? An article from Times called Wouldn't you feel safer if you safer with a gun, said Washington, D.C. has perhaps the most restrictive gun control laws in the country, and yet it is frequently the murder capital of the nation. In the 25 years following the D.C. gun ban, its murder rate increased 51%, even while the national rate decreased 36%. This was a rise in homicide by 200%. Instead of putting restrictions and laws on private gun ownership, we should be educating the public about gun safety and how we can all benefit from them. When firearms are safely used and operated, they can be a life-saving tool. We use it every day for self-protection. An article from gunowners.com said, law-abiding citizens use guns to defend themselves against criminals at least 2.5 million times every year, and that's about 6,850 times a day. This means that each year firearms are used more than 80 times more often to protect the lives of honest citizens than to take the lives. We must act against gun lobbyists and anti-gun groups to preserve our Second Amendment rights. I'm not saying to go out and buy a gun, but just simply wanting you to understand that America needs guns today, just as much as we needed guns 200 years ago. They used them to protect themselves also. Why is there an all of a sudden change in why we need them? They used them to put food on the table. That's what we use them for also. Do not believe everything you see on TV and on the news. Many shows are biased of this topic. Before you make a decision about any gun control issues, you should research it yourself and learn the true facts. To learn more about gun control, gun safety, and your gun rights, you can visit the National Rifle Association. The website is www.nra.org. 8 of our presidents have been proud members of this group. John F. Kennedy said, "I am pleased to accept life membership in the National Rifle Association and extend to your organization every good wish for continued success." If we do not act to preserve our Second Amendment rights, we might just lose them. And what will we protect ourselves with then? Every new law and regulation passed on private gun ownership is simply eroding the right to bear arms. Imagine a day where law-abiding citizens must turn in their only means of protection and for others their only means of harvesting food. Criminals will have no fear in robbing, raping, and murdering. They will know that their victim they are walking up behind has no means of defense because the government has taken it away. Those who commit gun crimes will still have their weapons, but the single mother who lives in a bad neighborhood will have to turn in her handgun because it will be illegal. In this speech, I have told you how gun control does not work, the benefit of firearms, and how you can protect your Second Amendment rights. I hope I persuaded you to understand that firearms are safe and protect more lives than they take, and those who take lives are most likely to have an illegally owned firearm anyways. Taking away law-abiding citizens' right to bear arms will only make them naked and defenseless when a criminal decides to make them a victim. Please do not let your Second Amendment rights be lost. Thank you.